Hello and welcome to the Ilene Silverman Show. I'm your host Ilene, and on this week's program, our guest discusses Celebrate Women 2020, a series of events throughout March that capture the spirit and empowerment of women and why Gainesville has played an important role in women's history. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for our program. I am delighted to introduce my guest, Pam Smith, Organizing Committee Member for Celebrate Women 2020, Gainesville, Florida. And Pam, it is just wonderful to have you here.
And I feel so privileged to be here.
Thank you very much. We've been talking about getting together and communicating and telling everybody about Celebrate Women 2020. Yeah. And you have such a wonderful committee working with you and so many things coming up. But kind of go back and tell me how this whole idea got started in the first place.
A woman named Rosalie Miller, who's a doctor in occupational therapy, had moved away from Gainesville and came back about 2 years ago. And she called me. She knew of me as a local activist.
Right. And
she said, I want to do something during Women's History Month, which is March every year. And in 2020, I want to do it for the 100 years of women being able to vote in this country.
Right.
And she said, would you like to work on that? And I said, absolutely, I'd like to work on that. And so then we just reached out to a few more women. We got Lorelei Esser, who's an artist, Corky Culver, who is a retired English teacher from Santa Fe College, Denise Matthews, who had just come back from Connecticut, and Shirley Lassiter, who was the founder of the cinema at the Hippodrome. And so we had a nice combination of artsy kind of people and those of us who are a little more nitty-gritty kind of people.
Right. So it was a good blend.
It was a nice blend.
Then you were off and running. You have been off and running all this time. What about the proclamation from the city of Gainesville?
About a year ago, we reached out to the city and said, can we have a proclamation? Because we knew if we had that proclamation, if they said that March was Celebrate Women 2020,
it would be so.
Yeah, it would be so, and we would really be able to gather. It would mean something. We would gather people together if we had that. And so we got it, and so that was really nice. We also formed an advisory board, which has just been a delight. It's
many wonderfur names on that.
Yes. Should I say some of them?
Yes,
They are just phenomenal.
Proud.
Yes. There's Zahara Simmons. There's Patricia Hilliard Nunn.
Yes.
There is Sally Ann Harrison. There is Bonnie Marotti, who's the chair of the Center for Sexualities and Gender and Women's Studies on campus.
Yes.
We've got Evelyn Fox from the NAACP. We've just got
Vivian Filer.
Yes, we've got Vivian
who
Filer.
Everyone knows, and Cotton Club
founder. And it's just been so delightful to be in a room with these women and listen to them talk to each other. They've corrected us a bunch of times
and said that's not how it happened.
Well, for instance, yes,
not quite.
Yes, but that wasn't what I was thinking of. We'd say we really want to focus on voting, and Patricia would say, well, that's not really the whole issue here. You've got to get people to vote for something. You want them to be voting for what's in what their passion is, what's in their heart. Get them out to vote for something. So
meaningful.
And we're like, oh, yeah, that's true. So it's been It's been
and you've
really
got
wonderful.
a whole month long of activities. You've got a calendar highlighting different activities in the arts, in performance, at museums. I mean, it's just a whole plate full, and several that are quite special that sort of define the month.
Yes.
Yes.
We do, just like you said, we have a lot of art ones. We've got some history. We've got things like that all month long, virtually any day during the month.
And how can we find that?
On our website.
Okay.
It would be great, which is celebratewomen2020.org.
Okay.
So that would be great. But we ourselves are organizing 3
specific events. Now, before we get into those, we're going to take a quick break. Then we'll come back so we can talk about them more in depth and about the commemorative magazine too.
Good.
So
yes.
Much more to cover. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back talking about Celebrate Women 2020. And Pam, there's so many activities that we were talking about on that calendar, but then you have highlighted 3 you were about to explain that we see right there on the flyer.
Yeah, we hope that we bring everybody together a few times during the month. And one of our opportunities is to have a parade. And we're going to have one that starts with a horse and suffragists in the front in their white. And then we're going to have different time periods in history behind them leading up to the current times. And
all just kind of unfolding. I see it.
That's what I'm hoping.
It's a wonderful perspective.
Yes.
And that is what Saturday? Tell me again, remind us.
That's on Saturday, March 21st, meeting at the Supervisor of Elections parking lot at 11 to start our parade on Main Street. I love that.
Yes.
We're going to march on Main Street and turn the corner onto University Avenue and go to Bo Diddley where we'll have a rally. So that'll be real fun and uplifting, and it's to get people excited about voting for their issues.
Exactly.
100
years have passed, and we want every vote counts.
And we want to highlight how special Gainesville is.
Indeed. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. Many that were there, the 60s, the 70s, that were the movers and shakers of the feminist movement, they knew, but there's a whole lot of people that don't realize about Gainesville.
Yes. The modern women's movement grew out of the civil rights movement largely. The women who went up to Georgia and Louisiana and Mississippi, Alabama, to do civil rights work, registering voters, actually, is what they were doing.
Okay, thank you for explaining it. So
they got a taste of being important. They were leaders in that. However, they were also the ones that were being asked to make the coffee and to run the mimeograph machine and not be the speakers. They noticed this, and they said
they were still put in the background. In
the background. And they said, let's meet tonight. One of the women said, let's talk about this. And that's how consciousness raising was born. Is that women talked about their absolute personal experience, not about what they'd read, not about what they had seen, what their experience was.
Right.
And then some of those women came back to Gainesville. And some women had been working in Gainesville all along anyway, especially in Gainesville, Gainesville Women for Equal Rights, which was white and black women working together for what came to be known as civil rights.
Exactly. Okay.
So that's what's happened, and
some of those women are still involved.
Two of them are on our committee.
Yes.
We've got Jean Chalmers and
our mayor,
our mayor,
a woman that's been a leader.
I think
always
and still is.
Still is. I love her.
And Rosa Williams is on our. She's peripheral. She's pretty up there in age.
I know.
So she doesn't come to meetings, but she's
honoring her is something special.
She is. She was. she talks about how women in Greer would go to other parts of Florida, and she was like, no other place are white women and black women working together.
So Gainesville was that unique.
Gainesville
I'm so
was
proud.
that
I'm
unique.
proud of our community to know that.
Yeah, and we had quite a few university wives. At the time, if a man taught at the university, his wife couldn't, no matter what her background was.
Okay.
So there were many unemployed faculty wives.
Yes, quite bright women
who were very bright and wanted things to do. And so some of those women were also involved with Gainesville Women for Equal Rights. And then when the women's movement started coming together, they wrote one of the most significant papers that became known as the Florida Paper.
Exactly.
And it's
still significant.
It's still
to this
very
day.
significant.
Yes.
We take for granted the things that it asked the world to, I hesitate to say give to women, because it really isn't giving. We have to kind of fight
but
for
to
everything.
say that we deserve that,
Yes.
that is meaningful.
Yeah.
Yes.
But some we've never gotten. We still don't have child care for
there are still issues
provided.
out there all these years later.
Yeah. Maybe some of our people don't share their housework evenly at their homes. Some of us do, though.
Some of us do.
And fatherhood has become
a whole other thing,
hugely more important.
Exactly than it ever was.
Yeah.
So changes are always coming and
Yes.
being made, and we like to acknowledge that. We're going to take another quick break. Okay. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back talking with Pam Smith about Celebrate Women 2020. And Pam, this is what you've been explaining. It's just intriguing, exciting, wonderful knowledge. Gainesville was so important. We ranked up there with 4 very large cities. Well, just explain more about that, please.
The modern women's movement, which was the consciousness raising and the papers that came out about women's liberation and the women starting to think differently about themselves and their place regarding especially men.
Right.
So Boston, Chicago, New York, and Seattle were the other 4 places where Gainesville. This came up, and Gainesville is where we wrote 2 of the most important papers. That The Personal is Political is a really significant paper,
right?
And then what became known as it was called Toward a Women's Liberation, and it was known as the Florida Paper.
And this was a collaboration, working of many women, or
yes, it was. Well, I don't know about many. There were
leaders,
okay, and writers and thinkers,
yes,
and and heart.
And
it's always all about heart with women. So
that is true.
And out of that bubble that happened, then many groups started in Gainesville.
Okay, that came from that.
Absolutely.
Some are still functioning now.
We never had a rape crisis center until after that.
Women's Health Center.
We didn't have a battered women's shelter.
Right.
We didn't have the Women's Health Center, which significantly changed the care that women got.
Exactly.
Until then, there was a huge hierarchy between doctors and patients. And the Gainesville Women's Health Center went and trained doctors at the university to be more sensitive in their examinations. They used poor women for that prior to the Gainesville Women's Health Center training them. And we have a keynote speaker coming on March 14th.
Yes, you've got to share that. This is important.
She was one of the founders of the Gainesville Women's Health Center, Billy Avery. And she's giving a talk about her pathway to empowerment, basically. She's just a phenomenal person. She's gotten a MacArthur Genius Award for her organizing. She just got an award from the United Nations for her work in Africa.
Extraordinary.
She's fun and just
entertaining and
person.
vibrant speaker. And
yes. So
it's
that's
wonderful that she's coming back because she
Yes.
has many friends
Yes.
and admirers
Yes,
here. And
we incubated her, and then off she went to the rest of the world.
And that's going to be March 14th. We know it's a Saturday. Where will it take place?
At the United Church of Gainesville, because they have a beautiful setting. And we want it to be close to the university. It's just 5 blocks from the university. And because we want a lot of students to be able to hear Billy, and faculty for that matter, and all sorts of townspeople.
Yes.
So we have it there, and we have a reception.
And free of charge.
Free of charge,
yes,
totally.
Just like the parade, the rally, everything to bring people together.
Yep.
Oh, that is outstanding. It's taking a lot of coordination to get all of these little bits and pieces into under one umbrella.
It has. We first reached out to other groups to do things. The Matheson Center's doing something. The Performing Arts Center is having Paula Poundstone.
Yes.
We initiated 35 other things to happen in this month. And then we're taking charge of the parade, with the rally, with music. Not so much speeches, little speeches.
You'll have a video of the parade. I mean,
yes,
this is another piece of history.
Yes,
for people to come out and to be a part of it. And in this, you also have the commemorative magazine. That's another wonderful keepsake.
It's 68 pages long.
Oh, it has grown.
We thought we were going to, I'll talk about it.
Yeah, we're going to take another quick break. We're so excited. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back discussing Celebrate Women 2020. And Pam, I'm looking forward to this commemorative magazine. It's going to be special.
It's good. We started it because we wanted a way to publish our calendar. We knew we'd have it online, but we wanted something that people could hold in their hands. And it grew and grew. We also needed money to put on a parade and rally and keynote speaker and bringer from Massachusetts. So we had to fundraise some way. We had to fundraise some way, so we chose to have a magazine where we had ads. And it has just turned into one of the most beautiful keepsake things. We've got articles written about the various things that came out of the 60s and 70s particularly. We have some about, like Lizzie Jenkins has an article in there about her grandmother who came. She was a daughter of a slave, and so it's just really special.
Significant women and different parts of our community.
Yes, and we have tributes in it to different organizations that have like one you belong to.
Gainesville Women's Forum, and you have ads and
and we have a timeline of when different things happened in Gainesville. So that's going to be interesting for people. We're going to have these magazines at every one of those events, 30 some events. I'm hoping, and we're going to give everybody who advertised. They get some magazines also.
I'll have it. Yes.
And we may have some left to have at our rally, and that people could maybe even buy. I don't know yet.
Yes, you have to see how it all processes.
We'll see how that goes.
I understand.
They might all be gone by then. But what was I just going to say about?
Well, the nice thing is, about the magazine. And when I look at this calendar, and I love to be able to hold something in my hand. You know, I recognize the importance of going online, but I like something handheld. I was struck by the many choices, the diversity of parts of our community that we're all pulling together to be a part of this. Yeah. It's a real awakening.
It has been for me. It's my first experience of working in a group of 20 women in which half of them are black. It has been extremely special. The synergy that has happened with us is remarkable. Really, it's been an experience of a lifetime.
A real game changer, empowering. I mean, that doesn't always happen. Yeah. You have just brought the spirit together.
I know. I think it's happened for everybody in the group too.
I would think so.
It's really good. I'm hoping that people come to these events and have some of that experience. I'm hoping that men and women come to something that they might not normally think
out of
about
their
coming.
Usual. process.
Yes.
Out of the ordinary.
Yes.
Or maybe they'll take a chance.
Yes.
Say it's not on my, what I usually do, but.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if people could come to, let's say, 2 or 3 or 4 events in that month, I think something's going to transpire inside of them as they see at the synergy, as they feel in themselves.
Right.
The ideas that they get from these various things. I think something's going to happen.
It's going to make a change.
I think that's going to happen.
And with enough people involved, enough change coming, that's just good for our community.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, the Pride Community Center's part of it.
Yes.
The Cotton Club, the
Yes.
Hippodrome.
Yeah.
You already mentioned the UF Performing Arts.
Yeah. Yeah, the
just-
Matheson Center,
yes.
Actors Warehouse. There's a little group called Guts and Glory.
I'd not heard of that, and I saw it on the calendar.
Yeah, they're storytellers,
Yes,
and they're
that's
going to
gonna be
do something
fascinating.
about Hear Us Roar, I think is the name of their thing they're doing. So I think it's going to be very special. Zahara Simmons was a civil rights worker in Mississippi, and there's going to be an evening where she's honored, and she's also an expert on Muslim women. She's and a feminist. She's a feminist Muslim woman.
Oh, this will be a whole perspective.
Yeah.
Yes. And to help us to open our minds to appreciate all of us.
Yeah.
The diversity of all of this community.
Yeah.
Gainesville is still special. All these years later.
Absolutely, Gainesville's still special. And I think that this kind of thing could keep us on the map, so
I would
to
love
speak.
that. I'd love to know that.
I think that it's going to attract some attention from other places.
Oh,
I believe
excellent.
it.
I think so.
I hope you all come to the parade, because you might end up on ABC News.
Right. That's right. With the video, yes. Okay, parade, rally, keynote speaker.
Keynote speaker the week before.
March 14th.
That's March 14th, and the parade and rally is the 21st.
Yes.
11 a.m. at the Supervisor of Elections office.
And then so many events throughout March,
Yes.
Women's History Month, and Celebrate Women 2020. Thank you, Pam, and all the many people on your committee and the advisory council, all that you've done, everybody, to make this possible. We're so looking forward to it.
And thank you for giving me and us the opportunity to tell the world.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks. And I hope I will see you out and about during the month of March, and that you'll stay involved. I'm so glad you tuned in, and I hope you'll join us next week. Take care.